The process to make it to the next level for many high school athletes hasn't been clear. In fact, many don't even know where to start. So today, I'm here to share the secrets of college recruiting that'll help take you to the next level. But don't just take my word for it. I asked college coaches from the 3 U.S. military academies to share with me their insights and tips for young aspiring high school athletes. Stick around to the end to find out my 3 tips to help you guys separate yourself from other athletes when reaching out to these coaches. If you guys appreciate all this free advice and want to learn a little bit more about college recruiting, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you who don't know who I am or don't think I'm qualified to talk about this subject, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kyle Millis. I'm a former Division I athlete and 2-time NCAA champion, and I've been helping hundreds of high school athletes get in touch with college coaches. When talking about college recruiting, it's important to understand the timeline for when high school athletes need to start reaching out and thinking about college recruiting. Under current NCAA rules, college coaches aren't allowed to have any sort of recruiting-based contact with high school athletes until after June 15th of their sophomore year. Starting August 1st, when the athlete is approaching their junior year of high school, athletes are allowed to start taking official and unofficial visits to the schools of their choice. Now, obviously, athletes are allowed to take as many unofficial visits as they would like on their own dime, but they aren't allowed to officially schedule them with college coaches until August 1st of their junior year. And after August 1st, the floodgates are kind of just open, and athletes are allowed to have conversation with coaches of any one of the schools of their choosing. For this video specifically, we're going to focus on what it takes to become an armed services student athlete. I asked college coaches from each of the U.S. military academies, Navy, Army, and Air Force, what makes their school special, or their 30-second pitch on why you should come to their school. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah, well, for comparing, I could talk all day, but I think for starters with the Naval Academy, just stemming off of what we just talked about in service, the Naval Academy is going to feed into 2 branches of the military. So you've got, the Navy and the Marine Corps. So right off the bat, 2 major branches of the military, huge options for us. I think the advantage for Navy, and I really believe this, is the diversity of career paths. You can go Marines, you can go aviation, Navy SEALs, you can go intelligence. There's just a lot of things that are really distinct. So for somebody who doesn't know exactly what they want to do yet, which is perfectly fine, Kyle, coming in here, the idea of serving appeals to them, but they want to figure it out. I think this is the best setup, is, you're going to have a lot of unique options waiting for you.
I think the bigger vision of what you want to accomplish with your life when you come here is really kind of what sets it apart. Obviously, from the academic side, it's an elite level education. It's up there, with the Ivy Leagues, in terms of the quality education that you get and the respect that a degree from West Point carries. And from the athletic side, we have some great resources. We have great facilities. We have a name brand that really speaks to people across the country, and we can recruit and attract, top level talent and really compete at the highest levels. But I think ultimately what sets it apart is that bigger picture of preparing yourself to serve in the U.S. Army and develop yourself as a leader to, lead young men and women and lead this country. And really that's what sets it apart.
Swimming's an amazing part of your journey, but it is just part of your journey. And so, we talk about, what do you want to do when you're done? If you want to be on a boat, if you want to be on a submarine, you probably should go Navy. If you want to be part of a platoon, that's Army, and we're about being in the air. So, if you want to compete at that top level and compete against the best swimmers in the country, we're going to give you that opportunity to do that and give you the opportunity to just continue to grow as a swimmer, but also as a person.
Obviously, there's massive differences between all 3 of these academies, from the type of service, the location, to the difference in world-class education. Each one is very unique. It's important to have a general understanding of what branch of the U.S. military you would like to serve in following your time as a college athlete to help set yourself up for success. But rather than have me tell you about it, I wanted to have each of these coaches share with you what type of athletes they're looking for at their school and what makes their school so special.
You have to be nominated by either your district representative, your member of Congress, one of the 2 senators for your home state, or the vice president. So you'll apply to those 4 people. You only have to get one. And here, the main thing I tell people is, you don't have to know these people. You have to be donors. You have to be politically active. Hopefully the merits of their application are what's going to win the day, and that will help them get up. But those are 2, I think, significant additional pieces of time that, a candidate's going to have to put in to get in here. But, in the end, you're going to, if you get in, you go to school for free. So it is worth it. It's an investment. Yeah.
The process is really interesting because you kind of, with service academies, there's certain, the biggest piece is the medical piece. So, you start having conversations with people, and there's conversations with people who already know what West Point is, know what service academies are, and kind of have that investment. And so that's a lot more team focused. And you talk a little bit about the school and what it means, but they usually understand that. And there's other people who don't even know what West Point is, have no idea what a service academy entails. And so there's a lot of education around that, and just kind of enrolling them in what it means to come to West Point and serve your country and what that actually looks like.
All of our swimmers will one day become Air Force officers. And so it's important for us to know from the beginning that, hey, they're excited about that and they want to do more than just swim and go to school. So we start much like I think everyone starts. We're looking at swim times, we're looking at grades, and then we're looking at potential interest in the military.
After speaking to these 3 coaches, I learned a lot, and I wanted to share my 3 tips with you to help you get recruited to be a college athlete at a military academy. Tip number 1, plan early and plan ahead. As the coaches spoke about, there's a lot of extra requirements that come along with wanting to be a military student athlete.
Definitely the medical aspect. After those first calls, the medical standard to get into any service academy is really high. So you have to pretty quickly start to ask those questions, because down the line, you don't want to run into those things. So, it starts to narrow itself down a little bit quicker after that.
Thinking about where your letter of recommendation is going to come from one of your local representatives, or getting your physical done early to ensure that you're healthy enough to serve, will take you far in the long run when you speak with these college coaches on the phone. You'll have already done the legwork, and it'll be an easy decision for them. Tip number 2, come prepared with transcripts and stats. To serve at one of these 3 military academies, not only does it take courage, but it also takes grades. And for those of you who want to take it a step further and be athletes at these schools, you need to be the best of the best. These coaches get hundreds of emails a day from prospective student athletes emailing them asking to be on their team. Come prepared with your transcript and your stats clearly laid out in the body of the email. This will help coaches get a glimpse of who you are as an athlete by just quickly scanning your email. And this will also help expedite you ahead of all the other athletes who didn't do this in their first email. Tip number 3, be ready to serve. When you're speaking with college coaches from U.S. military academies, not only do they want you to be a great athlete for their team, but they also want you to be eager and passionate to serve the U.S. military.
At least with Navy, desire to serve is important. They don't have to know what they want to do yet, but they just, the idea of serving their country is key. So we'll get that out pretty quickly.
Being a student athlete at one of these 3 schools goes beyond the requirements of many other D1 athletes. Come with an understanding of the service requirements that go into each of these schools, and show your commitment to each of these coaches when you speak with them. By using these 3 tips, you'll set yourself miles ahead of all the other recruits in coaches' inboxes. In fact, these are the same principles that I applied when I was reaching out to the #1 swimming school in the country, and I wasn't even top-ranked recruit. Start thinking about what you're going to put in your emails today, so that when the time comes, you're prepared and ready. A huge shout out to X Endurance for sponsoring this video. Athletes, have you ever felt like you're doing everything, but you just don't have that extra gear? Too much lactic acid causing cramps and taking you out of the action? Then look no further than X Endurance. I've been using X Endurance for weeks now, and I've seen some massive improvements in my stamina in the pool and my recovery time by using their products. I swear by it. It's been scientifically proven to help reduce oxidative stress by up to 39%, and also can help cut down your recovery times, helping you get back into the field, pool, or court, whatever it might be, faster. The best part about it only takes 72 hours to start seeing results. Only 3 days. Lots of products out there on the market today claim to do this and that, but they don't have the scientific backing like X Endurance does. This stuff really works. If you guys want to get in on the action and save up to 15% off your first order, use code KMillis15. And if you want faster recovery times, it's time to give X Endurance a try. And now, it's time to get back to the video.
For some closing words of advice, I asked each of the coaches what their best tips would be to all high school athletes who are looking to make the jump to the next level. Here's what they had to say.
Right. Well, and I think for any high schooler who wants to compete at the next level, you have to recognize that as you compete in college, it becomes so much a part of your life. And more so even than you realize in high school or growing up. And if that's what you want, awesome. But you've got to pursue it and you've got to go for it. And you need to be recruiting the schools that you're interested in, as well as, receiving calls and receiving recruiting stuff from them. But you need to be active in that process. Related to that, we hear no a lot more than we hear yes. So don't be afraid to tell coaches, hey, you know what? Thanks for your time, but I'm moving on to other choices. We hear that all the time, and so much better when a recruit picks up the phone and makes that call, or at least sends a text.
I think my number one message is kind of twofold. Look, it's going to be competitive. When you get to college, let's use swimming for example. You pretty much are doing your best time every Saturday if you want to be competitive. And, back in high school, you're like, well, I can do my best time once or twice a year, but then you realize everybody's fast. So I think we all have that moment where we're in a bigger pond, and it's like, it can be really intimidating. So my message, my answer to your question is, you've got to believe in yourself. You've absolutely got to be your own best coach and really pump yourself up when you need to, because you're going to have those moments of doubt and questioning and everything. And I think every program has their examples, but we had a young man several years ago, and I even co-authored the letter saying, hey, thanks, but no thanks, we're not interested in you. And he ended up coming to Navy STILL. He got in on his own, made the team as a walk-on, and by his senior, he was two-time All-American, two-time Olympic trial qualifier. He found the right school for him, and he believed in himself, and all the other conditions were right for his blossoming. And pretty special. I mean, that lesson is available for every one of us, as long as you don't give up on yourself. I think that's the main message I would send to anybody applying to college.
Take your time and do your research. There could be a lot of really exciting parts of the recruiting process, and sometimes you can get caught in the shiny, exciting pieces of, oh, that's an amazing pool, or they have a really cool student center, and ultimately when you're reflecting on your career 20 years down the road, you're not going to care about that pool. You're going to care about the people that were surrounding you, the challenges, the opportunities, the things that you got to do during those 4 years. I think those are the things that you're going to remember and that are going to matter the most. Go somewhere with lots of options that can give you perspective and opportunity to grow and learn and see new things and interact with new people. That's what I would recommend from the broad standpoint. And then also pick a team, if you're talking about swimming, that the team connects to you and you connect to them. Coaches can change, budgets can change, schedules can change, but ultimately the guys and girls that you'll spend the time in the pool with, those are the people that will be in your wedding someday. Those will be your best friend for life. That's probably the most important piece. Look for that culture and the community of people that you'll be surrounding yourself for 4 years with.
A huge shout out to all the coaches from Army, Navy, and Air Force for participating in this video. If you're a high school athlete who's considering going to one of these schools, you've made it to the end of the video. Now go put these tips into action. If you guys want to get access to my full interview with all of these coaches, then become a member on my channel today to get access to even more insightful tips. This is video number 1 of a 3-part college recruiting video series, so make sure to stick around and find out how to get recruited by Ivy League coaches and Division I schools. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the action, And with that, I'll see you all next week.